Alright, this is going to be part 3 for the MPLS lab. And for part 3, we need to implement strict priority forwarding on the MPLS routers. So if I go in here and go ahead and run the program and let it get its output going, it takes a while, so I can talk about what we're doing here. So we need to implement a similar bottleneck at router D in the network from problem 2 and change the output to show how many packets of each priority remain queued at each router. And then once this finishes up, I can show you where the bottleneck is happening, since the bottleneck happens at router D, which is at the end of the program. So yeah, if we look here, we can see we have three packets of priority 0 in router D, and we have still 3 there, and then finally one's able to go through. So what we did to enforce that was decrease the link capacity by a lot, so that it's harder to get packets to host 3 from router D, creating the bottleneck. And then, yeah, you can see how many packets of each priority are queued at the router there. And to implement the strict priority, we looked at the network packet, but instead of editing the the mpls frame, we just set the label in the network packet when we are looking at the in process network packet. And so if the packet priority is greater than 0, we can set the label to 2. Otherwise, we can set the label to 1. And then we can just look at the MPLS label, and if it's the higher number, so 2 is going to have a greater priority than 1, right? So if we look at the messages here, message 4 from H1 and message 2 from H1, so we can notice that there's a gap there. So message 3 was sent after message 2, but message 2 got there after message 3. And so that means, so we can see message 3 is up here. So message 3, even though it was sent after message 2, it must have had a greater priority than message 2 to get to H3 before this message did. So if we look at the priorities of the messages in the beginning, we can see from H1, message 2 has a priority of 0, and message 3 has a priority of 1. And so that's why message 3 gets there first. And that is part 3 of the MPLS lab.